Hello, everyone. Hey, welcome to my floral pillow abode. And um, I needed to make this video because there's been a lot of talk lately. Some concerns have been raised about my behavior. And by concerns, I mean that two occurrences happened in which I was minding my own business last night, and two separate occurrences of people coming up to me and trying to dull my flame. And this is just a PSA out there for all y'all sensitive people, is that you don't have any control over how other people interpret your behavior or how they're going to react to your behavior. Um, Here is an example. The truth of what happened last night is I was standing with my friend next to somebody at a bar, and like this random gay started like got mad at me for whatever reason for standing next to them at the bar and said, you I wasn't even acknowledging them, and maybe that was the problem, is that I wasn't acknowledging her. And yeah, so they freaked out and said like, what the fuck are you doing? I own the building. I own the building. Don't you know that? And I was like, okay, first of all, in my head, I was like, if you own the building, why are you yelling at a patron? Like, why? And first, second of all, you're a landlord. And third of all, no, you don't. So stop lying and making up the fact that you have a deed to the bar in which you don't. And then, okay, so they freaked out on me, and I just basically told them to fuck off. And they were like, "What are you gonna do? What are you?" And so I just like was like, "Okay, I'm gonna order my drink now." You're a crazy person in my head. But when somebody attacks you out of the blue like that and you're not expecting, like, what do you say? You can't do anything but tell them to go finger themselves and ignore the situation. And believe me, this is not the first time that a first time in history that a hysterical person has started a problem with somebody for reasons unknown, unbeknownst to the accosted party. But anyway, so that happened. It honestly kind of ruined my night. But I wasn't gonna let it ruin the night, so I went off with my friend and went like to dance. And then somebody came up to me, a bouncer came up to me and said, "You are too drunk. You need to leave." And I wasn't, but I was very cooperative. Obviously, I was like, okay, like I can't argue with you, so we'll leave. It's like this is clearly not the night for me, and it just leads me to think like, oh, maybe that crazy person, like maybe that you're a whack job, I own the building, told this person and said, hey, you need to get him out of here. Like I have, my name is on the ownership certificate to this building, and you need to do what I say. Otherwise, I will implode my landlord wrath onto you and make you feel bad about yourself for reasons unknown. And so we left the bar, and yada yada yada. The night was ruined by this one insane person for doing absolutely nothing, for just standing there and minding your own business. So again, this is just a reminder to the universe and to myself, is that we can't control what other people do. We literally, you're nobody is safe from a random person walking up to you and saying that they own the building, unless you're outside, and who knows what they could say if you're outside in a public park. Okay, like my ancestors own this land. That's not a joke about native people, by the way. But no one is safe from an insane, angry, nutso guy coming up to you and starting a fight with you. So all you can really do is look forward, order your drink. It reminds me of a story about my friend and I went to go see 50 Shades of Grey, and the guy, like the two people in front of us were on a date, and he was clearly not getting any. Um, and so they were out on Valentine's Day, and he kept turning around at my friend and asking her to stop kicking his chair, and she wasn't. Like I was next to her, she wasn't kicking his chair. Um, and he kept doing it. He kept freaking out and turning around at her. And eventually he got up and he was like, "Stop. I told you, I asked you to stop kicking my chair." And she said, "Sir, I am not kicking your chair." And that's again like another example of you cannot control people in your vicinity. The only way to be able to control that would be to stay home. And I'm not letting a crazy person ruin my ability to go out and have fun. I already spend enough time on my lonesome. Okay, I'm not gonna let like and this is just a reminder again for somebody who has social anxiety. I'm not going to let random people who are rude or inconsiderate or have a bone to pick for whatever reason ruin my enjoyment of life, because I'm a sensitive person and I work very hard to even just be kind to people. It does take work to do that, and yeah, of course it comes naturally, but it's an expenditure of energy that is very exhausting. And some days I don't have I'm still nice to everybody as much as I can be, but I don't have the energy to deal with randos who are trying to start fights with me, and it comes out. I will feel judged or pushed aside or forgotten, abandoned, and it's not your fault. It's not anything that you did wrong. Um, you do not need to be self-conscious about just going about your life and minding your own business. And you know what? Maybe you will do things that piss people off. Like in this particular instance, I was not very drunk, but there have been times where I have been very drunk and obnoxious and thinking that I've gone too far. But nobody's ever said anything to me. So, except for random bouncers who, by the way, like I've met some incredible bouncers in my life, but it's a really interesting line of work to get into. Just gonna say that, no judgment on people who need to make a living, but you have some of them have God complexes and think that they are more valuable than they actually are, which is whatever. Everybody's valuable, but don't extend your will and be all authoritative and come up to me and be like, you're too drunk. Maybe they don't have communication skills, or this particular person did not have communication skills, so they couldn't tell me what I was doing that was being too drunk. They just said, you're too drunk and you have to leave. And I said, okay. So that's my story, and that's my reminder that you are not a problem for existing. Thank you.